Almighty God bless you, the Mother, Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.
Thank you, Father Peter. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, next on the agenda, roll call, please.
Brown.
Here.
King.
Here.
Harvey.
Here.
Hawk.
Here.
Vaughn. Scott. Sims.
Next on the agenda, we have the approval of minutes from the regular council meeting of April 23rd, 2026, Finance Committee meeting of April 23rd, 2026, Public Utilities Committee meeting of April 23rd, 2026, public hearing of April 23rd, 2026, and the other public hearing of April 23rd, 2026. Craig?
The second public hearing, 5:15 p.m. The third paragraph on the third sentence, it ends in, they recommended this public hearing. It should say, they recommended this legislation. I discussed with Marla earlier, so she knew it. Third sentence.
Page.
It's right before the resolution page 10. It's like third to the last page of your packet.
Gotcha.
It's on the back. Third paragraph, third sentence ends in recommended this public hearing. Scratch public hearing and write legislation. Recommended this legislation.
Thank you.
That's all.
Any other edits, additions, omissions? We will correct that, and then those minutes will stand as approved. Moving on to audience participation. I have two invited guests tonight. First, we want to bring up Troop 106. You guys have everybody here for your Mayor?
Yes.
All right, I'm going to deliver a proclamation for Troop 106, who has faithfully served the youth of Ironton surrounding communities since its founding on April 7th, 1926. And April 7th, 2026 marks the 100th anniversary of Troop 106, representing a century of leadership development, character building, and service to others. Troop 106 has proudly produced 103 Eagle Scouts, the highest rank attainable in scouting, whose members have gone on to serve honorably in the armed forces, pursue careers in aviation, writing, law enforcement, contribute meaningfully to the workforce and civic life of the city of Ironton. Troop 106 has enriched the lives of its members through meaningful experiences, including visits to Washington, D.C., where scouts have witnessed the changing of the guard and participated in wreath laying at the tomb of the unknown soldier, as well as outdoor adventures hiking the mountains of New Mexico, West Virginia, and the Great Smoky Mountains. Troop 106 has demonstrated an enduring commitment to community service through its involvement in local events such as Navy Night, Veterans Memorial Services, the Memorial Day Parade division flags, and community cleanup efforts. It is with great pleasure that I, Sam Cramblett, Mayor on behalf of the City of Ironton, do hereby recognize and celebrate the 100th anniversary of Troop 106, and in honor of their legacy of service and leadership, designate the week May 17th through May 23rd, 2026 as Troop 106 Week in the City of Ironton, and encourage all citizens to join in celebrating this remarkable event. Here with them and have sure. We could probably all fit on that side. Yeah. Who's taking this? Give my hand to that too. I'm just looking at that. Okay.
Okay, just a moment here. I knew how good I was at this. It'd be somebody else snapping. Everybody say cheese. Or we can try that again and say
Cheeseburgers.
yeah.
Cheeseburgers.
Okay, one more. There we go. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great pictures of John's family.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Troop 106, and thank you, Mayor, for that proclamation. Next invited guest, we have Mr. Kevin Wood with Arcadis.
Mr. Haney.
Sorry.
I just wanted to give some quick updates on ongoing projects. First on the list, the Batham Lane and Orchard Sewer projects. The contractor for the storm sewer and pump station contract has been in. You've probably, if you have been in the area, which I know you have, you'll probably see some marks and things on some of the concrete that they're going to be repairing. And they should have all of that work done on the streets and the pump station by the end of this month. And there is some dirt pile Mary just brought to my attention, and I contacted the other contractor, and he said he forgot that was there, and he'll be in next week to get it. So we're continuing to work with them on that final punch list of items that they'll be addressing. The 3rd Street Waterline project, I know that Phil from Howerton met out there with John and Mike and Allard, and Allard is going to be addressing, I don't have the exact details here, but they're going to be addressing some of that. Storm pump station number 7, that's slated to be completed by the end of October. The 3rd Street, kind of that next small phase of paving, we bid that project. There were several plan holders, but we only got one bid, and it was Shelley Company, and it was more than 20% of our estimate, so we have to reduce the scope and rebid that, which we'll be doing in the next month. The work at the wastewater plant and the lift station work, we have a PTI in hand. I put in asterisk by 3 or 4 of these items to denote that you do have the EPA loan funds are available if and when you decide to move the project to construction and apply for that. Yes?
What's PTI?
I'm sorry, the permit to install. That's when we submit the plans to the EPA, they review them, they have to approve of the plans and issue that permit to install before you can construct it. The storm fee analysis is ongoing. The Rice property development.
Kevin.
Yes.
Number 6.
Yes.
Will you remember, you were virtual last time, but we were having some conversations in here about some things on our end that we need to do prior, like hardship exclusions, appeals process, things that immediately come to mind, but those kind of back end things that we need to do as the legislative body. I know you were going to give us an update, and I don't remember. I put it in my phone, but will you let me know like when that's coming close, so that we can have a public utilities committee meeting and start hashing out some of those things that go with the information that you're providing.
You mean, so let you know when this next phase of work that we're doing?
When it's
Okay.
coming to,
Okay,
to
yes.
completion, and
Yes.
you have an estimated date of a report out, or so that I can at least coordinate that effort so that we have a comprehensive piece of legislation and not have to piecemeal it all together.
Okay. And I know that you have, is tonight the second or third or first reading for that change order? I can't remember.
It's a resolution, so it's only one reading, but it has to have, it's expenditure
Okay.
funds, so it has to have a finance committee. So it'll be the next meeting.
Okay.
Sorry, Jimmy.
No, you're good.
Thanks, Kevin.
Yep. The Rice property, the sanitary sewer component of that has the permit to install. The water permit, the plans are still in for review from EPA, but we would hope to have that soon. The North Fifth Ellison sanitary project does have its permit, and the loan is available. The water meter upgrades are basically completed. Item 10, the PFAS general plan. If you recall, you got a grant of $149,000 to cover the cost of the general plan and the estimated cost of testing. And if you remember, the process is we have to develop a general plan to look at your existing conditions and all alternatives as to how to address them, and come up with a recommended alternative, which was submitted in the general plan. And that has a total estimated cost of roughly $10.5 to $12.5 million. The general plan was submitted to the EPA, and the city just has to pay the fee for them to review it. And we know from South Point and others that we've done this with, it will take them months. I think South Point, it was 3 months before we even heard back with their initial list of comments. Then we had to address those and go back and forth. So it'll be a while before we get to an approved general plan. They also have to approve our testing protocol that we submitted. So once both of those things are approved, then you would move to the next stage of testing your water using the recommended processes. And then, of course, the big ticket item is the ultimate construction. And I have been talking regularly with Joshua Legg at Ohio EPA about the DuPont settlement funds. And he has told me that, Ironton is eligible for those funds and on the list. And a few weeks back, a draft press release, I guess, for lack of a better word, came out with South Point and some of the other communities on that list for funding. And I called Josh and said, hey, I don't see Ironton on here. And he said, well, the list is not complete. Ironton is still on the list. I relayed that to the mayor, and as I understand, he relayed that to you all at the last meeting. We had a call with the EPA last week, and although Ironton is still eligible and on the list, you don't currently have the $10 million grant in hand. There was $65 million from that settlement that they have spent down, and they have spent all of that to date, he told me. Ironton is on the list, and if some of the other communities don't use all of their funds, Ironton could get some of that. But he and I had a miscommunication. I'm going to take the blame for that, in relaying that to the mayor. I understood him to say that Ironton was on the list and was getting $10 million. That is not necessarily the case. Now, that being said, he reiterated what he has told me all along, which was, we need to get the general plan in, which we have done, and get that approved, because as funding landscapes change, and as we have the emerging contaminants, which was a one-time pot of money specifically for these types of things, hopefully the state and federal government will provide additional sources of funds down the road. We know, I would be surprised if we have an approved general plan and testing protocol in the next 5 or 6 months. And then once we get that, we go into the testing process, which depending on what EPA requires us to do, could take 6 to 12 months. And then once you get through that, then you have to do the design for the ultimate build out. So there's going to be plenty of time between now and when you get to construction for us to continue looking for funds. The good thing is, to date, everything is grant funds that you've had to spend, and the next step will be as well for the testing. So I apologize for my miscommunication, and I don't know how it was relayed to you, but I'm guessing it was. Kevin told me the good news is we're getting $10 million, and that's not the case, so my bad. Questions on that?
No. Is there,
Craig?
is that DuPont settlement, 60-some odd $1 million, is that one-time penalty for them? And is there a second round of that, or is that like complete?
I asked Josh Legg at EPA that question, and he said that as far as he knows, that was a one and done thing. For him, you mean?
Yeah, but there may be some other defendants, like 3M, and there are some other defendants that could possibly fund that. We were involved, as you know, in the PFAS litigation in South Carolina, so that I know there were multiple defendants in that, so I assume that the APA's thing has multiple defendants. But as far as DuPont's $65 million, probably not going to see any work on that. That's probably a one time. The only chance of additional revenue, I'd say, were from other defendants.
So in that light, is the reason that specifically you mentioned South Point, they received money and we didn't, is because they had already had their general plan submitted and were further along in the process. And if that is the case, are they still reconsidered in the next round, or are they done and then it moves on down the list?
We have several South Point size clients up the river who were on that list, and they were all in that $5 million range, and all of their projects are going to cost in that $5-6 million range. Early on, when Josh called me and started asking, hey, I see you work with Community ABC, do you have a feel as to what this is going to cost? And before we did a general plan, we had no idea. So he penciled in $5 million for each of those villages. And if you look at that list, they were all right in that range. And when we talked about Ironton, I was like, well, they treat water, surface water. They're bigger. It's certainly going to be more. So he penciled in $10 million for Ironton, not knowing what we didn't know. I asked him how they determined how he prioritized his list, and he wasn't real clear on that. I kind of got a sense that it was the smaller. They started kind of with the smaller communities. Is kind of what I read between the lines, but I didn't get a solid, we scored them and funded down that way. South Point, their general plan went in, they're still waiting on it to be approved. So they're probably 3 or 4 months ahead of you in that regard. So it's not terribly different. So he didn't indicate that was the case. He just said, we never know when the next lawsuit or federal, tranche of funds will come. So if you can get things moving ahead, it could behoove you down the road, which we know readiness to proceed is always helpful. And he knows that you have that submitted and you've begun the process. So.
Right. Just one more thing, not to bring up. So I've always been under the apparently misguided understanding that class action lawsuits are brought by a collective group that have had wrongdoing done to them, and then that's settled so that there's no further litigation to the.
Correct.
And the way that's settled is by appeasing those people that have sued them, and that it's done equally or by a formula. And so of course, my question would be, how do we get involved in a class action lawsuit with DuPont and get zero from DuPont?
So we're not, what he's talking about is not the lawsuit that we're involved in.
Okay.
That's completely separate. We've gotten DuPont from our lawsuit, where we're an actual plaintiff. What he's talking about is a lawsuit that the EPA filed. This is money that the EPA received as part of their filing, separate and distinct from the class action suit.
You said EPA, that stops the conversation because they don't have to justify anything.
Correct.
Okay, got it.
What we were hoping for, what the two of us have been discussing the whole time, is we thought we were getting the $10 million from the EPA, we were getting the other money from our lawsuit. We've tagged that money as PFAS money in our budget, but we haven't spent it yet because we're waiting to see what we were going to get from the EPA portion.
We were dependent on unelected bureaucrats to tell us what we get.
Correct.
How many communities got awarded funding?
I don't know that I've seen the complete list.
I thought they got more than 65, so that's what I'm wondering if this was like a round.
Well, he told me they got the total, and you may know this, Brigham. I think he said the total was 100 million or something like that, but like 20 million of it is being set aside for other uses. And I remember reading this somewhere in one of the releases or one of the newspaper articles, to like clean up algae blooms in Lake Erie and, river cleanup and stuff like that. So 20 million of it went there, and then there was a chunk that went to the legal fees. And he said that 65 million was the total remaining for the communities. And I'm guessing the list I did see, all those communities were small villages. They were all in that $5 million range. So that would lead me to believe there might be 11 or 12 total.
Yeah. Okay.
So anyway,
Not what we wanted to hear.
I know. I broke my rule of never believe anything unless you see it in writing.
Right.
And I even said, when I asked him why Ironton wasn't on, and he said, well, that list, they're still on. They are on the list. That's not a complete list. And I'm like, so am I okay telling the mayor that? He's like, yeah. So I called the mayor.
So would we be forethinking if we said, listen, we can use $5 million too if all the $5 million communities are.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like it would.
Yeah.
We can use this for this portion of.
He indicated, because I asked him, I said, so did you prioritize these and did you run out of money and then Ironton's next on the list? Or, where? And he's like, well, no, we didn't really prioritize like that. But he said if South Point doesn't need their full $5.1 million, then it would go to, another community that needs these funds. So there is certainly a possibility you could get 1 or 2 or 3 or whatever $1 million if all those other communities don't use.
Or if there's a larger settlement, correct?
Or another one, or a federal or state grant funds are made available. And again, you're probably a 1.5 to 2 years at the earliest away from construction, so we've got time to line up funds, but it's.
Gotcha. Thank you.
The riverfront, I don't know if any of you have been over there, but the sheet pile's all in, that's all filled behind. I was walking down there this morning. It's a really big area when you're down there. And the contractor, I don't think, was in there working this week. Technically, they have by contract until the end of October. They've indicated they think they'll be finished here in July. There's really only the stairs and sidewalks and some cleanup and things to do, so I'm hoping that's the case. But they've got the hard part done. So I left the emergency generator on here. We're not actively doing anything at the water plant. And then the last item is we have begun design on the wastewater plant, digester, trickling filter, and disinfection. And that's one of the loans that Rochelle is working on that will go in for that. Question?
I have, Nate unfortunately is feeling under the weather. Let me a few things.
Man, when I heard he wasn't going to be here, I thought I escaped Nate's questioning.
Technology is a wonderful thing. Okay, so I actually saw this. There's a gate on the Orchard Street pump station. Walking the dog, I just want to go check it out. The gate, and for it to be brand new, it is not straight. It's whopper jawed. That's the word I'd use for it. Just one's facing one way, one's the other. So Nate was concerned about that also. 3rd Street paving, I believe Robbie also had mentioned this. 3rd Street paving with recommendation, Robbie sent him. Are we still under warranty without it? Was that quick?
Was that number 2 on the list
Yeah,
there?
that's the one that Howerton, whoever saw construction on that, they walked that with John, I believe, and Mike Pemberton and Allard. And so I've seen some emails going back and forth on what they're planning to do to address that. I haven't heard when and exactly what yet back from Howerton, but
that is being addressed.
yeah.
One other note on that, is striping part of that project at some point?
Good question. It was not part of that project, but this next little phase that we just did and we have to rebid, we are including at the city's direction in that to stripe the entire thing.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thanks.
I'm just as cost estimate to pay Vernon Street. I'm thinking Nate is wanting to ask for a cost estimate. I would say probably from the gateway on 9th to probably maybe 6th. He doesn't, that's the only thing he says. But Vernon Street probably also, I would say 8th Street from the hotel
Around the
to
Dairy
the,
Queen?
Yes.
yeah.
We priced that. I don't have it with
It's like
me.
halfway going to Park Avenue too, because there's concrete there also. So it's just like really around Dairy Queen down to the valley.
Yeah,
Okay.
I can't remember what it
I
was.
think it goes to 7.
Yeah.
So,
I also noticed the block right in front of Dollar General is pretty rough too. If we did get into any paving projects, it might be worth looking at just doing that one block and seeing how much that would cost.
well, I've got that other,
The block right in front of, the downtown Dollar General. Yeah.
3rd.
Yeah,
3rd Street. If we get them in town or whatever. If you don't care when you get those, do you care to email the council, please?
Yeah, now you mentioned Gateway 9th to 6th. What exactly?
No, the gateway, I'm saying, I was just guessing what Nate was saying about the paving. I didn't know.
Around the DQ.
Yeah,
Okay.
but I would say probably, if it were my decision, I would definitely go ahead and burn it all the way to the concrete on the gateway. That's just me though, but because I know that road's pretty rough also. It's got an incline in it, and it's not great
Yeah.
shape. But I don't know what he asked you. I don't know what he requested for an estimate though. So that may not have been included in the
Well, I think the mayor was the one who asked me initially to cost that out.
Okay.
I just remember what Faith and Vernon, I can't remember from where.
Yeah, it's from 9th to 7th, and then from like half between Park Avenue to like the alley.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
That would capture the worst of it.
Yeah. Craig?
2 things, Kevin, real quick. You got out of Nate, but not my questions. I guess I'm picking up the slack. The emergency generator, at some point, I recall that, and I don't think you were involved in that discussion, but at some point, I think we talked about Ohio has some kind of government refurbished equipment wholesale or sale or whatever, where they, refurbish equipment like generators. And at the time when we were talking about it, they had some things that we needed, but not a generator. Are you aware of that and how often they do that, or if it's an ongoing thing, it's a bidding process? I just wanted it on your radar because it's something that we've been talking about for a long time. Contingencies for generators are always a need, so I think that if we can capture a refurbishment, we can use it as a contingency if nothing else. But at some point, someone's mentioned this Ohio government refurbished equipment, and I don't recall who did, but it's in my mind. And when you read that, I was like, I wonder if we've checked that.
I don't remember that conversation, but I am aware the state does have, because I've heard other communities talk about it, like they will do a sale of fleet vehicles and things, like old cruisers and...
Maybe either one of the Johns could tell us.
I'm not aware of a program.
Yeah, these are generators are usually size specifically.
Yeah, a generator would probably be hard because it does need to be size specific to what you have, and there's such a need for them. Those would be a hot commodity.
Yeah.
What I've seen available at the state is primarily vehicles, but
John Haskins.
The only thing that I've seen, like, you can enter into like a emergency contract with a local vendor that rents generators, where you would be on the reservation list in the event of a major catastrophe. I have seen those programs out there. I don't know all the details, if there's an annual hold fee, but they would guarantee you your generator until until we're equipped to purchase our own. With the water plant, that may be something you look at, because they do not run 24/7. They can alter their hours if you do have a power outage. They can manage that so when the power's back in. So.
We're talking about like the generators that come on trailers, right?
oh yeah, like the one at the sewer plant, but bigger.
The bigger, yeah.
Yeah, it would be bigger than the one at the sewer plant and more expensive.
Johnny,
I had gone to Ross County Corrections, Department of Corrections at one time. I don't know if they're still doing those programs there or not. Mr. Haskins, you more familiar, I'd imagine, but at one time, and I don't know if it was generators, but I know that we had gone there to look at equipment where they did refurbishing of equipment at Ross County.
That's with painting of the vehicles and maintenance of the vehicles. They do that at Ross and Chillicothe Correctional. They have a program out there where they do all the body work and refurbish, but it's mainly regular vehicles and vans, not accessory equipment.
Thank you.
And the last one, I don't think it's you, but I just wanted you to tell me it's not you. Lead testing.
The status, or?
Yeah.
Well, it's Arcadis, it's our Cincinnati office, and I'm kind of stay aware and informed. I know they've done some potholing, and they've been working closely with Aaron. I don't know exactly if they're finished yet with the potholing. As of like 3 weeks ago, when I talked to Darby down there, they were working on it. But I know that was the current phase they were in.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I don't have any more detail.
No, I thought I recalled you saying that it wasn't you, but then I remember they sampled around my neighborhood and somebody from Arcadis. I was like, oh, I thought that wasn't Arcadis. Anyway, so I just...
Yeah, it's Arcadis. Our Cincinnati office is spearheading that effort, yeah. And so I've listened in on the calls and things with them and Aaron.
Will that be published like our water purity that's sent out as a mailer? Will that be sent out or publicly available?
It has been. Are you talking about like
The lead testing?
what we've had is a lot of people want to participate in surveying, right?
Yeah, but
And we're having to go out and do it
I thought there was a flyer that went out in your
Yeah.
bills.
Yeah, we had to, but it didn't yield much, like,
Yeah.
from the public participation.
Kind of informing people what the city was doing, and it was covered, it was being paid for by a grant.
That's all right.
I do, okay, so water meter upgrades. Aside from the $15,000 water bill that I got called out. And that was, I didn't see that one online, I got personally called about that one.
Your home?
No, it was a home on 7th Street, we'll just say that, but, I got a phone call about that. So it's fixed and that's great, and they did. Now, that being said, some of these, I've had a lot of concerns about, and so I went through each scenario. So last month, I do want to say this, last month, mine was read on 33 days. So mine was more expensive than it typically is, probably because, anywhere 30 days, whatever, 3 extra days is what it is. But I went through different scenarios with how the water could have been either if they were doing estimates and actually got true red, couldn't see an increase, right? Or they possibly had a broken meter prior to getting a new meter, they couldn't see an increase. So there's about 3 or 4 scenarios that I've tried to pass along to people. Now, there's another issue with some of the new water meters is that either the city side or their side is kind of broken at the moment, not at the moment, but they're getting fixed. So and it seems like I've got about 5 phone calls about this. If we would fix the city side, then their side would break, or if they would fix their side, the city side breaks. Is that common, or is that?
Well, I guess if you're jostling that pit that the meter is in, I guess that could be the case. And if, the city workers, if they're doing work on the city side, are certainly aware of that, and I'm sure would be cautious of that. Now, if it's a homeowner that's digging and, they're shaking things around, I guess that could shake loose on the city side. So you're saying some people have had that happen?
So, there have been about 5 instances of they've called me, it's the city side, and I can see it out here. So they go, we come out and fix it, and then I guess, whatever torquing or whatever we do is now, if that side was weak, then now their side's weak, and then their side needs repaired, or they found the leak on their side. They've called in, said my water bill's high, called in, you've got a leak, we'll adjust it, but get it fixed. They repair their side with whatever company, and then the city side breaks, and they're like, well, now I'm soupy out here on my tree lawn. It's kind of like
That's an Aaron Edens question.
Okay.
that's
kind of wanted you to tell me that's not a you thing like Craig. So you had it on the list, so I wanted to ask you.
Yep. No, that's not surprising that is bound to happen some.
Good deal. Anybody else?
The good thing is with the meter, if it's on them, they'll know now.
Right. That's why I said
Yeah.
give true reading. Anybody? No? Yeah. Thanks very much. Appreciate you. Now, moving along to regular audience participation. If you'd like to address council, please step to the podium, state your name and address, and you'll have 5 minutes to address council.
Mary Tussey, 1507 Karen Street. My water bill was over $800 this month. I'll just mention that. And they came down, and I did like the fact that they can tell every hour if you actually have a leak or you don't have a leak.
Yeah.
However, I did have to have someone come to 1606 to fix a hose. Wasn't anything to do with the city. But the plumber said there was no stopple. And he said he didn't know why they didn't either put the stopple in or they didn't come with it. But I just thought I would mention that we had to rely on turning the water off and make sure that it was off. He couldn't turn it something. All I said was there was no stopple, so I'm just kind of reporting that he said that usually they have them and it didn't. The new meter did not have that.
So you had no way of cutting the main water supply to the house?
He cut it off, but I guess he couldn't verify that it was actually cut off. We had to do it from the house. And he just said there was no stopple there. Usually there used to be a stopple, and now there isn't on those new meters. Or they tore it off. I don't know. But I'm just mentioning.
Should be before the meter, I think.
I know, there's still one on mine.
I busted, yeah, I had a break the other day, I had to do it, but it was before the meter, it was actually up against the well of the hole, so.
Well, I'm not a plumber. It was a actual plumber, and that's what he said, so I just wanted to pass that on. Also, Orchard Street, where we were talking to him about those big piles that are there. Two other things. The gas company is cut, and it needs filled in again, a line across Orchard Street, which I know is not you, it's a gas company, but I don't know why they're not filling it in with asphalt. And when you turn from 2nd Street onto Orchard, I don't know if you've noticed it, but there's a big break in the asphalt. And you basically have to go all the way over into the other lane if you don't want a big choo-choo with your car going in. So I'd like for somebody to look at that. We might need to patch a place there. You can take me where I'm talking about, going onto Orchard from 2nd Street there. So there's kind of a miss in the asphalt there. I also wanted to ask about the murals on the riverbank. Is there any plan, I don't know how you all do those, but is there any plan to acknowledge the beautiful churches in town that, you know, our church is from the 1800s. I do know, I think it was Catlettsburg has a church on their mural that's really pretty. I don't know who decides what murals.
Council, I don't think would decide. That would also be that'd be a hard decision because, like you said, we have many beautiful churches around here. How do you exclude
They
one?
actually did like a 4 or 6 way on one of them. I don't know if it was Portsmouth or Catlettsburg. Well, what if the church pays for it? Or you would not consider? I mean, you know, churches back then were, if you're talking about the foundation of Ironton, you know, back in the 1800s, they were a mainstay for
churches and bars.
Well, we got the bars up there, I think. I don't know if we have any churches.
The whole mural thing would probably be a mayor question.
There's
I don't know.
a few different groups that are looking to restore quite a bit of the ones that have faded or, you know, become in disrepair. Different groups have helped with funding of those as well. There's still plenty of space to add.
Especially if they're willing to pay for it.
So is that advertisement of like Granny's that has one? Did they pay for that, or was that just?
Third and Center did one for like multiple businesses on that one, and they included it on
Okay. And then does the city decide who does it, or that?
It's usually like they'll submit at least the design and everything of what it's supposed to look like, so we have an idea. Really, that was the only thing that was added to that. That one captured quite a few that we had lost over time. Typically, it's just all been like, I think you all restored one, right?
Yeah, we didn't do anything new, we just.
Most of them have been just restored, and if we go on down, that's where we've allowed for more of like the modern, like different types of art that they do and stuff, but most of the historic stuff stays down on the beginning of the riverfront.
Okay. And one other question, on the Rice property, where that emergency road that we use to park in the field during the work, is that road going to stay, or is that going to become part of the lots that are going to be sold? Kevin didn't know. I already asked him.
I'm going to guess that road's going to stay. Yeah.
There's we could probably get you what Kevin and them have designed. What road? Which road? Oh, you're talking about the roads?
Yeah, it's supposed to be a
Oh, no, I don't think
utility
so.
road.
The road going to the pump house?
That one wasn't
No.
supposed to be a road in the first place.
No, it's just like
It goes by the Price's house, right?
yes,
It
so
was
the
like
blue.
a private drive.
I mean, there's an asphalted Or that's not the one you're
That's
talking
not the
about.
one.
No, no,
Location
no.
of pump house.
No, this is the
I
one
don't-
that we
I'm not
put
familiar
wrong
with
on.
that one.
The other one, there would be homes that's called for the homes to go there.
But someone that lives on that side was saying that it was for the utilities, and they asked me, are they gonna be doing away with that road? So that's why I'm asking.
I think it would
That's
be back
part
to
of
what it was before they
Just-
started
it,
using
just
it.
part of the property. And I think that's it.
All right, thank you. Any other audience participation?
I got two things.
Mayor?
Tomorrow we have downtown cleanup at 9 a.m. And then mulching. And then Saturday they're pulling the time capsule out of Memorial Hall, 4 o'clock.
What time is that, sorry?
4 o'clock Saturday.
Time capsule. Craig, or
Correct. Do you have the schools involved in cleanup?
St. Joe's and St. Lawrence involved in this one tomorrow? Yes.
Okay.
That it on that? All right, you good? Yep. All right, moving along to communications, there are none. Reports, there are none. Moving on to ordinances, Marta, would you please give amended ordinance 2609 third reading?
An ordinance of the City Council of Ironton, Ohio to amend the Ironton zoning code to define and add specific requirements for data centers and data center accessory uses, third reading.
Craig?
I want to mention that received favorable recommendation from our planning commission and has followed all the necessary steps to finally get to third reading, and I'd like to move to adopt.
Jacob?
A second.
Have a motion by Craig and a second by Jacob to adopt amended ordinance 2609. Roll call, please.
Brown.
Aye.
Hany.
Aye.
Harvey.
Aye.
Hawk.
Aye.
Ordinance 2609 has been adopted. Moving along to resolutions. Marta, would you, actually, I would like Craig.
Yeah, I'd just like to make mention that's an expenditure of funds, and that needs to be referred to Finance Committee prior to giving Resolution 2631 reading, and I'd like to ask that it be added to the next agenda.
I'm going to second that. That's what I was going to say. We motion by Craig and second by myself to refer Resolution 2631 to Finance and add to next agenda. Roll call, please.
Brown.
Aye.
Hany.
Aye.
Harvey.
Aye.
Hawk.
Aye.
That is referred to Finance. I'll give it made by the meeting and add that to the agenda. Moving along to Resolution 2632, would you please give that reading?
Requesting the county auditor to certify the estimated property tax revenue for a renewal recreation levy and declaring an emergency.
Craig?
Move to pass Resolution 2632.
Jacob?
I'll second that.
Have a motion by Craig and a second by Jacob to pass Resolution 2632. Roll call, please.
Brown.
Aye.
Hany.
Aye.
Harvey.
Aye.
Hawk.
Resolution 2632 is passed. Craig?
That's the first of two things, I think, right, Greg?
Yes, first of two, so we'll take this Valor and get the second one, hopefully by the second meeting of June.
I'll sponsor that.
I will. Moving on to miscellaneous. Craig?
Sorry. I have a chatterbox tonight. Ate Snickers before I came. I wanted to mention to John, we've talked about, this isn't directed at you, it's just in your span of control, I think, to help. But we've talked a lot about ACH payments, and I'd like to see that a recommendation of something for city payments, for ACH payments sooner rather than later, because this last month, April, I got my May utility bill, and it was like twice what it usually is, and it's because my April payment never got received. And I looked back, and 3 times since October, I've used my bank's bill pay, and they've not received my payment 3 times since October. And I know every time I call my bank, they say, we sent it. The water office says, we didn't get it. It's the bank. No, it's not the bank. Then they're both pointing at the post office. Who knows? Anyway, we're in 2026. They shouldn't be having paper checks anyway. They should be able to just wire it. And we have people that live out of town that are property owners that pay utilities that should be able to directly deposit that into our city coffers. And also, it's not just a bill payment. Last year, for my city taxes, I work at the VA in Huntington. They don't take out Ironton city tax, and so I owed city tax. I handed a paper check along with my W-2s, my city tax sheet over to the tax office. It never got deposited. It got lost. So this year when I go to pay my taxes, they're like, well, you still owe us from last year. No, I don't. Yeah, you do. We didn't get this amount that you owed us from last year. I pull up a picture of the check that I handed to them and my city tax return. Never got deposited, never got filed. And so it's not just a bill pay or a check thing, or it's, to me, we're relying on old processes, and it's time to move to ACH payments. So people, I realize that we do have on our utility bill that you can pay with a credit card, but that costs the consumer. So I'm not going to put in my check card and have $3 extra come out because that's my money, and where everything else that I pay gets automatically deposited, and I don't have to worry about tracking it down and making sure that it actually went through. When I put it in one time, to Old Navy, it goes to Old Navy. Put it in one time to AEP, they for sure take my money out. AEP. Only thing that I can't do is when I buy tires, poor old Charlie Tires, I have to send a paper check to, and poor old City of Ironton, I have to send a paper check to. So it's not an indictment on you, John. I'm just asking to help us get to the point of what do we need to do to implement this sooner rather than later. I know you've explored some options, and I appreciate it, but this month just really pushed my buttons. And I was like, it's 2026, it's time for us to pull the trigger. So
I think when we were looking, we called some other communities, it was upwards of $65,000 to cover, because we didn't have enough, something like that.
It's been worthy of further exploration. So
yeah, what we looked at the time, so I was thinking we would just get quotes, figure out what's going to be the most cost.
And maybe we need to look at some other communities and what they're doing.
Well, the ones we talked to said they were going away from it because it was costing them so much.
Really? And there's got to be other ways that we could. I mean, it doesn't cost me to PayPal anybody anything for payments on. I bought this thinking brake pads from Advance off of PayPal. I mean, can we offer PayPal? Yeah, I mean, there's other options that's not one of them.
I think.
the difference, I think, I know there are tiers and levels of immediate out of your account to the, but there are some that are free that
free, that are free if you give a 2 to 3 day leeway. And so the immediate, I understand, probably the consumer or the city would eat a cost in like an immediate, like, oh shit, I forgot my water bill, and it's the 10th. I want to do it right now. You can't do it right now. You'd have to do it on the 7th. So I get that, but I do want to see us like move towards that and come into the future.
Well, you know, one of the things that we have had difficulty with is having something that integrates with our software. We don't want to have to hand keyed, hard keyed, computer scan it.
Agreed.
So we're looking at it. We've not been able to find the correct formula yet, but I can promise you that I will be getting in touch with our software company and saying, don't really care how much it costs, give me a quote, somebody else can make that decision.
Okay.
Well, we do care how much it costs.
No,
I care.
For the decision, I mean, it's just like, I need to know how much this is going to cost us. And then the decision can be made is, I don't think anybody wants to add $10 more onto paying a check. And the other thing is, Chris, like you say, PayPal, they might have 3 million users. We've got 3,000. So, I mean, it's just trying to find the right mix, and haven't found it yet, but I guarantee you it will be found.
Thank you, John.
Thanks, Robert. I was just going to ask too on that. I know that I've researched this some before too in the past, and on utilities specifically, some communities with Invoice Pile that we're already using, for some communities there is no charge to the customer for check or ACH, but there is for credit card. I don't know if those communities are eating that or if they've negotiated some sort of
the invoice plan, what we had originally been informed from them was just like, this is what we've been looking for.
Yeah.
Well, that girl, since our initial contact, had since left.
Okay.
And the replacement was like, I don't know who told you that. So it's like back to square one again.
Yeah.
But I will find out. I promise you I will find out.
We talked to, but I talked to Athens and Chillicothe. One had decided not to do it because of the cost they were going to incur, like to eat it. Chillicothe told me it was costing them $65,000 a year just because of the AC, just whatever that service they were offering. So they were going away from it. And we talked to Ashland. I think they were.
Yeah, Ashland. It was a little bit expensive there too, but you know. And the thing is, it's not going to cost you anything, but it's going to cost the city something. So it's just trying to maximize, you know, get marginal utility versus marginal disutility. So that's what we just need to, I'll find out, I'll present it to you, and then you all can instruct me on which way you want to go with it. And I promise I'll do that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, that's nice. I got 3 things. Tomorrow, elected officials, tomorrow is the deadline for Ohio ethics filing. Make sure you do that. Mayor said time capsule Saturday at 4 p.m. I know Navy night starts at, is it 6 o'clock? 7 o'clock on the Thursday the 21st. We're not going to have a council meeting. Typically, we move it back from the Monday prior to, because Navy night, the way council's schedule works out this month is we'll be meeting after Memorial Day. Mayor, fireworks, I know we had somebody come in and give a date for fireworks. I don't know what that date was.
Saturday.
Saturday the 23rd. And then
time yet.
Dark, whenever it gets dark. And then 25th Memorial Day Parade. Anybody have any other events that they know of regarding Memorial Day? Okay, last thing, I have it'll be a brief, I promise it'll be a brief executive session regarding possible contracts with John, Mayor, council solicitor, no action to follow.
I'll second that.
I have a motion by myself and a second by Jacob to enter executive session, no action to follow.
Brown.
Aye.
Hany.
Aye.
Harvey.
Aye.
Hawk.
Aye.
Thank you guys for attending tonight's meeting.